Shalom. All praises, all power, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations and blessings to the Akyam, the fellow laborers, the hopeful elect, pushing this truth at risk of all eyes through the four corners of the earth. To the Akwath listening and learning in sincerity and in truth and in silence, Shalom. This is your brother Shema from the GMS Toronto camp here in Toronto, here with another lesson, right? In transit, in the spirit, war report, right? On my way into camp and meditating on these wars and rumors of wars. Because the hot news this morning was actually started late last night, around 3 a.m., 2 a.m. And it continued this morning. And the hot news, the hot take is the strike, the military strike on the Carmanians, Ishmael, right? Iran, right? The wild boar. Right, and all kind of scriptures came to mind, but these are things that are taking place to fulfill prophecy, right? And we know the MOTB will be mandated worldwide. The MOTB is going to be in effect first, before World War III, right? But we know this is just another event leading up, right? Another event within the series of events, like all wars are bankers' wars, right? All orchestrated. Right, they all have an agenda behind it. Right, and what's the agenda on this? All roads lead to the MOTB. The Lord's putting the spirit on Esau Edom to move. Jeremiah 51:46. Unless your heart faint, right, your mind faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land, a rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. And that's what's going on right now, right? Events. You know, you have an event in February, going into March 2026. You have another event in July. Things might cool down a little bit. Towards the end of the year, another event. That's what's going on right now. Wars and rumors of wars. And these leaders can't help it. Right? Scripture say the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Let's get that. That's in Proverbs. Proverbs 21:1. And read the king's heart, right? The ruler. In this case, these presidents, these prime ministers, right? And then up above them being the elite. But listen, these prime ministers and these presidents, they do the bidding of the elite, right? So the king's heart, these elites, is in the hand of the Lord, right? Their mind is in the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will, right? Wherever it's going to go, wherever the Lord wants it to go. And the Lord might want to crank it up, and it goes full-fledged, DEFCON 11, whatever they call it, and they roll out the MOTB, or the Lord might turn it down. Lord will the Lord continue to crank it up, right? Lord will the Lord continues to crank it up, but it's all the will of the Lord, right? And each prophecy has its appointed time. Let's get that. That's in 2nd Esdras. Just rolling in the spirit, quick in transit. 2nd Esdras 4, pre-camp, 27. 2 Ezra 4 and 37, it reads, by measure, right, it's all hot news. Right, you have to remember, everything is an enchantment too, right? Esau's enchantments, right? This is all staged, all choreographed, right? With one ending agenda, but also to take away, to deflect from the list. You know what list we're talking about, which is all over the news, right? Esau is a right hand of falsehood. Let's get that real quick, right? Psalms 148. Salakia. Psalm 144, 7. And it reads, send thine hand from above, rid me, and this is a Psalm of David. A Psalm of David. Psalms 144 and 7. Send thine hand from above. Right, who's the hand of the Lord Yahweh Shai? The right hand of the Lord is Yahweh Shai, and he's going to be sent to redeem his elect. Rid me and deliver me out of great waters. Right, great waters. These other nations. Esau's military. Right, scriptures say that when the enemy shall come in like a flood. Right? From the hand of strange children. Right, these other nations. Here's the point. Whose mouth speaketh vanity, right? Primarily Esau Edom, right? He's the head. He's in rulership. His mouth speaketh vanity, emptiness, right? It's pseudoscience. That's vain. That's empty. Evolution, right? Descendants from apes, right? That's vanity. That's emptiness. You know, Skittles kids, moles. Be whatever they want. You can change your plumbing. That's vanity. That's emptiness. You can worship whatever idol you want. That's vanity, right? And their right hand, their power, their strength, is a right hand of falsehood, right? All enchantments and lies, right? Remember, these elites, they control the media, right? Whatever they want to pump out, however they want to stir up the people, right? That's what they're going to do. Right? But remember, it's the Lord's will. Back in 2 Ezra 4 and 37, by measure hath he measured the times. Right? The Lord Yahweh Shai has a time for everything. Right? Every time has its every event, every time, every prophecy has its allotted space. And by number hath he numbered the times. And he doth not move nor stir them until the said measures be fulfilled, right? So everything has its time when it's going to fulfill. The MOTB has a time when it's going to roll out. We know it's going to come prior to World War III, right? World War III has its time when it's going to roll out. Jacob's trouble, right? We're in the beginnings of Jacob's trouble. It had its time when it would start to roll out. It's going to get worse, right? But these are the times we're in. Right? These nations are being stirred up to ultimately be gathered, right? To land down there. Look how many aircraft carriers are down there now. The Strait of Hormuz is partially obstructed, right? You have J.D. Vance making an announcement today saying, we didn't want Trump. What did he say? We didn't want Trump to take us into another war. right? That's division within the house of Esau, right? How can Satan cast out Satan? Let's get that, right? That's all the will of the Lord, right? Remember, Esau, Edom, right? The hub city, America the Great, Babylon the Great, they answer to Amalek. Right? Scriptures say the least of the flock. That's in Jeremiah. Let's get that. Jeremiah 23. That's our prophecy. Jeremiah 49:20, and it reads, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, that he hath taken against Edom," Esau, Edom, right? Beginning with their ruling class elites, Esau's elites, and these ruling class families, these banking cartels, right? These Rothschilds, these DuPonts, these Gettys, these Rockefellers. The Lord has something for you ruling class elites. And his purposes, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes, that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, right? Teman, the tribe, the physicists and the scientists of the house of Esau, who are today's so-called Germans, right? When you look at Project Paperclip at the end of World War II, the Americans, Babylon the Great, spiritual side of spiritual Egypt, America the Great, Babylon the Great, and the Russians divided the scientists, the German scientists that were involved with you know who, the one with the funny mustache. Right? They divided those scientists. The Teman, the house of Teman, the wise men of the house of Esau, Salakia, right? The Germans, so-called Germans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock, Amalek, who are the tiny tops. Draw who out? Babylon the Great, America the Great. They're going to spark the war. And this news that came out today, Israel and America strikes Iran. It's another event leading up into the ultimate agenda of the elites, the NWO, and ultimately the MOTB, which will proceed, which will be before World War III. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, right? Ultimately, America the Great, Babylon the Great will be touched. America will be utterly destroyed. The land of Israel will be destroyed via the thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. The difference being, Israel will be built back up in the kingdom. America will be a land of desert animals and waste. Verse 21, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. Right, the whole world gonna see their fall. The fall of Babylon the Great, America the Great. What's gonna be that great noise? The missiles, the thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea, right down there in that region. The Levant, the Valley of Decision, right? The so-called Middle East. Right? The land of Israel, America the Great, the land of Israel is going to draw America the Great into war, right? What we're seeing is the lead up, the backstory. That's what we're seeing play out. The backstory, right? If there were going to be a continued Edomite rulership after the destruction, their history books would have accounts of all these events leading up into the ultimately the destruction, right? Where was I? Mark 3. Right, yeah, J.D. Vance said, J.D. Vance basically, the sleight of hand, the show, oh, we're not on board with this, Trump went and did this by himself, right? A few weeks ago, Starmer saying, we don't back Babylon the Great, but then today there's news accounts coming out of British jets aiding, right? Listen, it's all theater, it's all enchantments, but it's all with one agenda at the end of it all, right? New World Order, MOTB, right? World War III. Mark 3 and 23, and it reads, and this is Yahushua speaking, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Shaitan, adversary. Right, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan are the Edomites, beginning with the ruling class elites, right? The so-called white man, right? The banking families. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand, right? And America the Great is divided. You got the MAGA hats, you got the reds, the blues, you got different classes, you got Homeland Security, you got the immigrants, right? You got you got Jacob sprinkled throughout all of this. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, right? America is divided. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but hath an end, right? So the division is rife throughout America the Great, Babylon the Great. Red state, blue states, MAGA hats, right? And it's going to continue to climax and get worse. No man can enter into a strong man's house. And who's the strong man right now? America the Great, Babylon the Great. And spoil his goods. Spoil his goods. Take his shit. Right? America's been the hammer of the earth. Pillaged, done what he wants, done what she wants, when and where and how he wants to do it. Still is, right? But these other nations are now strong. Scripture say, "Let the weak say I am strong." That's in Joel. Right? These notoriously weak nations are now strong. These notoriously weak nations now possess uranium rods, right? North Korea, Pakistan. Right? What's the narrative of this bombs blazing this morning? The narrative, the same narrative has been for the past 20 plus years. We must not let Iran possess uranium rods. That's the narrative, right? You have to remember, Russia, Gog, Magog, they have an interest in Iran. They will be her ally. Except, and no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house, right? Ultimately, the missiles, America gonna get took, right? I mentioned Russia being an ally. It's in Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36 and 3, it reads, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince, first prince, of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right? Russia, Rashar, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, right, Russia, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. Right, the Lord's putting the spirit on Russia to be back into that Cold War spirit, that Peter the Great spirit, right? That's the spirit that Russia is in right now. And I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, their militaries, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, right? They have a mighty military, man. Don't get it twisted, right? Russia has a mighty military. The narrative is out, the propaganda machine is out, the enchantment is out that, oh, they can't take Ukraine. That's a circus. That's a show. That's an enchantment. All right? Here it is right here. Verse 5. Persia, right? That's Iran. Ethiopia, Cush, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet, right? So Russia, the reason I brought this scripture out, has an interest in Iran, right? The Armenians, right? Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee, right? You got Turkey and Albania and all those nations, right? Those European Islam countries, right? Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. There's the point, right? Russia gonna be a guard for a lot of these nations, man. Right? Scripture say, "Thee shall hate the whore and burn her with fire." There's gonna be a fallout with NATO, right? We know Turkey's a NATO nation. There's gonna be a fallout, right? We know Israel, the least of the flock, gonna draw America into war. Right? What we're seeing is a lead up of events, right? A play of events that are gonna lead into the fulfillment of prophecy. Right? But yeah, that's it on that, man. I just want to bring that out. I pray edified. Quick pre-camp in transit. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone of teach well and rule well. Shalom to the elect.